So it's no secret on this channel that I am absolutely in love with Puerto Escondido, Mexico. It's one of my favorite places on this earth. But one of the most common responses I get from people is, how the heck do you work remotely in Puerto Escondido? It's horrible for digital nomads. The internet sucks, blah, blah, blah. Which is why on this second trip to Puerto Escondido, I made it my mission to make the ultimate digital nomad guide to Puerto Escondido in 2023, because there are more and more co-working spaces, cafes, co-livings popping up all over the city as it continues to expand and attract more and more digital nomads. I will say I made kind of a digital nomad guide a year ago when I was in Puerto for 2 weeks, and this is definitely a more updated, in-depth, nuanced guide. So definitely make sure to watch to the end of this video if you want a really good idea of where the best places are to work remotely and stay if you're a digital nomad. So let's get into it. First up on our co-working tour of Puerto Escondido is where I have been staying for the last month, Casa Flow. It's located in the Zicatela neighborhood and it's fairly new. Honestly, when I was here a year ago, I had never even heard of Casa Flow. I wish I had, because I totally would have stayed here, but I'm really happy to have something to compare it to Casa Losodeli, and yeah, very, very happy I chose to stay here, so let's go check it out. So we're obviously in the main courtyard right now, like right where you walk in. And if you walk up these stairs, there are some more rooms up here and also the co-work terrace. So on the second floor, you have kind of these little mini palapas where you can sit and do work. There are a couple outlets and some chairs. Got one right here, and then across the way, got another one. Okay, now I'm gonna take you up to the co-work. I don't know how many people are working, so I may need to do a voiceover for this one, but this is my favorite part of the house. So the terrace is basically the main communal area where we all work remotely, relax in the hammocks, and enjoy the ocean view. There are plenty of outlets and tables to work at, and this is also where the internet setup lives. So we have Starlink internet as well as fiber optic backup and a balancing router with SpeedFusion Cloud, which basically prevents video calls from cutting out, which is super important. There's also a battery backup that lasts 3 hours after a power cut, which often happens in Puerto Escondido every few weeks or so, so this is definitely essential. As far as internet in Puerto Escondido goes, this is about as good as it gets. Okay, so the room I was staying in was right inside from the courtyard, room number 1, so if we stay there, it's a great one. You get like a big window with some natural light. You've got a full dresser, a full bed, and a desk, which is huge. I would always do my private calls in my room just so it's quiet and I don't have any noise around me and stuff like that. So every room does have its own desk, which is super nice and convenient because there aren't any private call rooms, you know, up on the co-work, because you really don't need it. You can just work in your room. But yeah, there are only 10 rooms and really no more than like 12 or 13 people stay here at a time. So it's a really nice, intimate vibe. And Diego, who's the owner, he kind of vets everyone to make sure they're a good fit for the house, because it really is kind of like a family environment. And everyone stays here for like a good amount of time. It's not like a hostel where people are kind of in and out every few days. When I was here, I obviously was here for a little over a month. There are people that have been here for 4 months. There's someone that I just met that's about to be here for 3. So it's kind of one of those places that you can kind of arrive and settle, and everyone that's in the house is kind of like your family for the next, you know, few weeks or months. Okay, so in here we have one of the shared kitchens. There are 2 in the space. So you have kind of all of the basic amenities that you need. So you've got the gas stove here, an oven, a blender, coffee machine, of course, and then pretty sizable freezer and fridge. So just label everything. And then there are, of course, things to cook with underneath, some Tupperware. Got a microwave. This is some communal items. And then there's always filtered water down here as well. And then there's also this dining room table where you can eat, do work, and then up the stairs here are some more rooms. And then right in here you have the first floor bathroom. So there's one down here, one upstairs, and then on the other side there are 2 more. So there are plenty of bathrooms. They're shared, but honestly I stayed downstairs and I was almost the only one that used this bathroom, or at least the shower. So you walk in, you've got a big old mirror, got a sink, the toilet, and it's nice, it's all nice and tile. And then in here is the shower. It's very nice and spacious. Only thing to be aware of is there is no hot water here, which honestly is very typical in Puerto Escondido, especially in the Zicatela neighborhood. It's not like ice cold by any means, and honestly, it's been so hot here that I have not really wanted to take a hot shower, but that's just something to be aware of. So if you couldn't tell by now, I am absolutely in love with Casa Flow, and I'm like low-key really sad that my time is over. I stayed here just over a month. Definitely recommend it if you are someone that needs to work online and have really strong internet, but also wants a community. So if you're wanting to come and stay at Casa Flow for a month or more, go to the Casa Flow Instagram. I'll put the handle here. DM the Instagram CGT monthly, and you can get $25 US off of your monthly stay. But yeah, absolutely love it here. Sad to leave, but let's go check out some of the other co-work spaces in Puerto Escondido. Okay, so today I am trying out Pauline Creative Hub, which is one of the main co-working spaces in the Rinconada neighborhood, and I've been wanting to try this one out for so long. Just the exterior of it is so sick, and I've heard really good things, so let's go check it out.
You want a tour? Or?
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Here we have like AC space. All the coffee and the water is included, the fridge or the microwave to cook. And we have the best coffee in town.
Have to try it out.
First impressions?
This is incredible. And the terrace.
Wow, beautiful.
This is so nice.
Want to go check out the view?
This place is lit.
Okay, so this is a very important cocktail that
Yeah.
our bartender was just explaining us, Noé, because this is the first cocktail that includes mezcal, that is included in the list of the best cocktails in the world. So it's naked and famous, and this was developed by a Oaxacan bartender, and he used to work with him.
That's
so
super cool.
yeah.
I'm trying to force myself to like mezcal.
Yeah.
So when you drink at a co-work space. So the fact that we don't even have to leave the co-work space to have the post-work happy hour is amazing. And this is apparently a famous mezcal drink, and Dylan has never tried mezcal. We're gonna pop your mezcal cherry, Dylan.
Which one should I take? I'll
Whatever
give you
you
the big
want. Okay, it's very like smoky, strong flavor. So expect that. And tequila.
Can I take this out?
Yeah.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah. I feel like it should be like a Friday afternoon right now.
Cheers.
It's really different, but it's good.
So in the past, I've stated that I don't like mezcal.
This hits different.
This hits different. This is so good. Oh my god, what the heck? They hooked us up here at Pauline.
Big time.
This is awesome. Okay, yes, I fully changed because I was hot and we're going to dinner. But I wanted to give a final review of this co-work space.
This is Dylan's review.
10 out of 10. Great drinks. I'm a little buzzed, but that's my 10 out of 10 review.
Falls down.
The main pros, they're really mostly pros. This place is sick. Amazing workspace and vibe. You cannot argue with.
Workspaces, actually.
Yeah,
There's
multiple.
several different workspaces there. They had like the big communal one, which is the one.
It's an
like a
old bowling alley,
Sick.
which is really, really cool.
And then they have multiple like quiet rooms. Like,
That are air conditioned.
air conditioned. You literally walk into it and it's like dead silent.
It's so nice.
They also have like phone booths, which is
Phone
really cool.
booths. Well, I want to talk about internet, but I don't know if it's a pro or a con because it's kind of weird how it worked. I'm gonna say my experience and then Dylan's gonna explain it in sciencey terms. Okay, so we're here on a day pass, obviously. They gave us a QR code to use for the internet and it's valid for obviously just the day. So I'm gonna test it out real quick. So, moment of truth. Speed test open, check it. Why is it slow?
It seems pretty slow on here too.
But it's fast on my phone. The upload is so fast. I'm so confused right now.
The internet speeds on my phone were way faster than the internet speeds on my computer. And I guess the type of internet setup they have, they can do that to like limit speeds. But can you explain it? Can you hold this? I'm dying.
Basically what they have is a triple redundant system. So they have Starlink and then the two other service providers here. but it all works on the same network. And what Crosby was saying about how her phone speed was faster than the computer speed was because they prioritize the slower speeds on the laptop so that you can't hog up the internet, versus on the phone where you're not going to use that much internet. So that's kind of why we had the difference in speed on versus the phone and on the computer.
It's very reliable. You cannot argue with the reliability, and in Puerto Escondido, that's very hard to come by. But you couldn't do your call on the Wi-Fi.
Yeah, I couldn't do the call on my computer, but I switched to my phone and I was able to do the call just fine. But I think if you have a monthly membership there, it may be different because they put you on a different prioritization level depending on your device and I guess the level access that you have.
Yeah, the day pass is 300 pesos. The week pass is I think 850 pesos, and then the month pass is 2,500 pesos. And then the last thing is that they have a lot of social events post work, like around 5 or 5:30. Today they had drink and draw, which was a cute little event, and it's a really good sunset spot. So you literally have a lookout of the ocean and you can watch the sunset and have a cocktail. So lovely. And everyone was just so nice. So I definitely recommend it. I really liked it a lot. Okay, so today's co-work space is also in the Rinconada neighborhood. There is a growing trend here. It's called ÑUU Co-work, and I think it's fairly new, haha. There's only 6 reviews on Google right now. They're all 5 stars, which is great. I have heard good things, but yeah, I've never been, so let's go check it out. I think it's on the 3rd floor. So I'm connected to the Starlink. They have Starlink here and fiber optic backup, but I have not been able to connect to the backup yet. So I'm about to jump on a call, and sometimes Starlink can be a little bit iffy with calls, so keep you posted on how it goes. Okay, so that call went really well. I didn't have hardly any issues, so that's really good. But I am starving and I have a 30-minute break between calls. So when I walked in, there was a cafe downstairs, so I'm gonna see if I can grab some lunch there. I really do like the location of this. It's like right near all the restaurants, which is awesome.
So it was super freaking hot this afternoon as per usual, so I decided to spend the afternoon in the indoor co-work area because it has air conditioning and lots of natural light coming in. There are plenty of workspaces that are super comfortable with ergonomic chairs, cubbies to store all of your things, and lots of power outlets. There are also 3 private call rooms that you can reserve in advance for virtual meetings, which is super nice to have. There's also a little basic kitchen where you can make coffee, as well as a couple areas to chill and hang out after work.
Good morning, everyone. So it's about 10:15 a.m. I just finished up a yoga class at the Rais Hotel. Oh my God, that was the biggest bee ever. Anyways, I am really close to Malagua Cafe, which is where we are going to check out for today's co-work space. I've worked here one time before up in their upstairs co-work space, but it's been about a year. So I'm gonna go check it out again and give you my review. Well, I'm not sure what's going on, but it's closed, even though it says it's open on the map, and it's a Monday at 11 a.m. So not entirely sure what's going on, but honestly, this is a good lesson just for this video. If you are a digital nomad or anyone who really needs good, reliable, solid Wi-Fi in Puerto Escondido, I would not recommend staying in La Punta. My first pick would be Rinconada, and then my second pick would be Zicatela. The infrastructure is just way better in those areas, and there's a lot more options in terms of places to work remotely. In La Punta, it's really great for backpackers, people who are kind of traveling around on vacation and don't necessarily need really good Wi-Fi on a day-to-day basis. But speaking of Rinconada, I'm gonna head back over there now. I'm gonna jump on a collectiva. I'm almost at the main road, and I'm gonna take you to Casa Losodeli, which is actually where I stayed last time I was in Puerto Escondido, and it's a really great place to work. Okay, here we are. It's honestly so good to be back, but I'm really excited because they've been doing a lot of work recently on the building, and they have finished the rooftop terrace, which was not done when I was here. So I'm gonna go up and work there for a little bit. You can work there, and they also have like workout and yoga classes and like social events up here as well. So excited. nice. There's a cafe here that has really good lunch, breakfast options. I just got a smoothie because I'm feeling a little hungry and very sweaty. Okay, so I just got back from working at Casa Losodeli for probably about like 2 to 3 hours. And quick pros and cons since staying there a year ago. Pros, they have actually expanded up into the terrace, like I mentioned. So there's a lot more places to work if you're coming from outside the hostel, because obviously people in the hostel are also working there. So if you want to come for the day or the week or the month, you have a lot more space to work. And the internet is really good from when I was there at the very least. And when I was staying there, we hardly had any issues. So it is pretty freaking reliable. Hello, okay, this is about a week later. I'm actually staying at Losodeli for like 3 nights right now. And I have just a few edits to what I said earlier. So as far as the internet goes, yes, it's very solid as far as internet in Puerto Escondido goes. However, I have heard from a few people that sometimes on calls it will drop periodically. It really just kind of depends on how many people are using it. Starlink tends to be kind of fluctuating depending on how many people are using it and the time of day and all of that. So yeah, with video calls, it can be a little hit or miss. So that's just something to note. And then the pricing for if you want to come in as a guest to work at the co-work, it's 190 pesos for the day. And then I'll put the other ones up for the week and the month. But as far as cons, there are only 2 main cons that I wanted you to be aware of. The first one is more of a timing thing. So if you're coming anytime soon, you know, within the next couple weeks or so, they are expanding even more right now. They're building a new area on the main level where you can go in. I think it's going to be air conditioned, just a bit more private of an area to work, because a lot of the places to work are outside in open areas. So there is a lot of construction happening right now. So when I was there was a lot of noise. Also situated on the main road. If you're on the terrace, you can kind of hear the main road. It's not too bad, but I'd say the main source of noise at the moment is downstairs with the construction, because it's literally right there. And the other main con is that there only is one small air-conditioned room that you kind of come get on a first come first serve basis. So if you're really wanting that air-conditioned indoor space, there's not a ton of it, but like I said, they are building another area. So depending on when you're watching this video, it may be ready. Actually, there is one call room. You just have to reserve it in advance. So if you have a meeting or an important call coming up, just go to the front desk and tell them which day and time slots you need the room for. There's only one, so you have to reserve it at least like a few days in advance because it gets kind of booked up. My overall opinion about whether you should stay at Casa Losodeli or not is, if you want kind of a mix between a hostel and a co-work vibe, then this is definitely the spot for you. It has a really good mix of socializing, having that kind of hostel backpacker vibe, but also obviously everyone is kind of working throughout the day. But if you're a more serious remote worker, you have calls all day long and you kind of want to sit down and work in a really quiet environment, then Casa Flow is definitely the best bet. So the final co-work space that I'm going to take you to in today's video is going to be the Selina. If you've never heard of Selinas, they're basically a chain of hostels that are geared towards remote workers, digital nomads, and backpackers. And you can find them all over Mexico, Central and South America. And there is one here in Puerto Escondido on the Zicatela beach, really close to, basically across the street from Paradise Gym, which is one of my favorite gyms in Puerto Escondido, and about a 15-minute walk from Casa Flow. You can stay here as a guest, and you can also just come and work. So we're going to go check out what the work scene is going to be like at the Selina. Tries to be aesthetic once. Okay, so I'm currently working at the Amarisa Cafe in the outside area. There's a whole outdoor area that's open aired. You can order brunch, coffee, food, and then there's also an inside, like a smaller cafe area that's air conditioned, which is nice. But usually I work out here. Only thing is, you know, they're playing music and stuff and there's people around, so for calls, it's not super ideal, which is why I just asked if I could go use the co-work space, which is upstairs. She said at 9 o'clock I can go check that out, so I'll take you guys along. Okay, quick pros and cons of the Selina. I just left. I was there for a couple hours and I have a few things I would like to say. So in terms of the co-work, it's actually fairly new. I was in Puerto Escondido exactly a year ago, and at that time they were still doing construction on the co-work space upstairs, so it wasn't even in existence yet. So it was really nice. There's air conditioning, there's lots of places to work, they're really comfortable seating, and there are 3 call rooms, which is really convenient. You can reserve those in advance if you have any important calls coming up. There's not a lot of call rooms around Puerto Escondido, so it's really good to know that that exists if you need that. The Amarisa Cafe, just in general, is actually a great kind of cafe vibe to work in if that's kind of what you're going for. Again, you know, for calls, it's not a huge deal. It just kind of depends on the environment that you want to do your call, and if it's like a really serious call with a client or something like that, then maybe reserve a call room. But in terms of just working and getting stuff done, like for me for editing or admin tasks and stuff like that, the Amarisa Cafe downstairs has worked great. I've worked there a few times since being in Puerto and I really like it. However, there are a few cons, and I will preface this by saying I am not the biggest Selina fan in general. I'm a bit biased in that area. I've only stayed at one Selina and it was in Costa Rica. You can click here if you want to see my review of that. But yeah, I would not choose to stay at a Selina for several reasons. The first being, it's really expensive. The dorms and the private rooms are very expensive, more expensive than most local Airbnbs and other hostels in the area. And on top of that, if you're a guest at the Selina, you actually have to pay to use the co-work space unless you are a part of the co-live program, which basically I think you pay maybe like $400 or $500 and you can stay in the dorms unlimited throughout the month. You get access to the co-work space for free, all of that. But if you're not a member of the co-live, you still have to pay 300 pesos a day to use the co-work or 2,400 pesos per month to use the co-work. In my opinion, it's just not totally worth it, especially because the internet is actually not that fast. Whenever I've been there, it's ranged anywhere from like 13 megabytes download and upload to 20. And when I was in the co-work space just now, one of the people who was trying to make a video call, I heard them being like, sorry, the connection's really bad today. They were lagging a lot. They had to reconnect. It was a whole thing. So for video calls, I guess it's not the best. So that's just something to keep in mind, but it's still a solid place to work if you're looking for an area in Zicatela. But yeah, I would still choose to stay at Casa Losodeli and of course Casa Flow over the Selina. That is it for today's video for this kind of digital nomad guide to Puerto Escondido. I really hope that you found it helpful and insightful. I really try to be as honest and authentic as possible with my reviews and my overall experience working remotely in Puerto Escondido for 5 weeks this time around. I can almost guarantee you that I will be back at some point. I really can't get away from this amazing beach town, and I hope that you feel a little bit more confident going to Puerto Escondido if you are a remote worker. It's obviously a little bit more challenging than in other cities, but it's by no means an impossible feat. So if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to give it a like. It really supports me. I did work super hard on this video to make it as informative and insightful as possible. So your like and subscribe and comments and all of that mean a lot to me. It really, really supports me. So as always, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.